If you've been around here a minute, then you know that I have been struggling to find my stride in early retirement. And I got to say, I feel like I'm starting to find it. And I wanted to share a few insights into it because I think it'll be helpful for all of us. So, as you know, my channel is called Retire-ish, and it is called that intentionally because I don't want my retirement to look like anything templated or pre-rehearsed or what other people do. I want to do this my way. And the best way that I know how to do things my own way is to avoid putting like labels or restrictions on myself. And to me, being retired means that you're not working anymore. And that to me feels like a limitation. I want to be able to do whatever the hell I want. So that is why I've called this channel Retire-ish. And that is why I call this stage of life that I'm in Retire-ish, because I want to be able to do whatever I want. And with that, I feel like I have found a really good stride in terms of the work that I'm doing right now. And the work that I'm doing is this YouTube channel. I have another YouTube channel as well, and I do some coaching as well. And all told, I think I work like maybe 5 to 7 hours a week. I don't put a ton of, scripting or production into my videos. They're pretty like natural. So they don't take me a long time to actually do. Plus I've been doing them for a long time. So I know how to get things done. And then if I'm coaching at all, it's like maybe an hour or two a week. And I have to say that finding that stride for me, like at this stage of life, it can change in the future, is so beneficial. And I want to give you the reasons why. And the first one, Captain Obvious, it does give me, for lack of a better word, I'll say purpose. In my view, and I think I shared a previous video about my thoughts on purpose, I don't think you can go out there and find it. It's not out in the forest or in India. That's where I went looking for it. I don't feel like purpose is something you find, but you understand the idea of having your life have some beyond structure to meaning, if you will. I feel like having a small amount of work really helps me to have that sense of grounded meaning in my life. And I cannot overstate how important that is. If you have absolutely no meaning in your life, if there's nothing that you need to wake up in the morning for, it can be really scary. And sometimes we have to have that period of time before we realize that's not really what we want to shape our lives around. And that's fine, right? Like you've got to go through the dark spots to find out what really works for you. And I did that, and you guys were here for it. But now I definitely feel like working 5, maybe 7 hours a week is a very good way of giving my life meaning. And that's aside from the volunteer work of fostering dogs, which I also do and find so much meaning in. The second reason I am loving this part-time work schedule, and then I mean it's very part-time, is that any money I make from it goes into my Paycheck. I've talked about this before, and I actually learned that term from one of the viewers here who commented on it. Having a Paycheck is like a forced way of spending money to improve your life in your day-to-day, right? Like so many of us who are, really skilled savers have a hard time switching off the saving mode and getting into spending mode when you're in retirement. So having a Paycheck is a commitment to yourself that you're going to spend at least a certain amount of money every month that is only to improve the quality of your life and enjoyment, whether that's spending it on other people or spending it on experiences or toys, whatever it is you want to do. So anything that I make, and I don't make very much from this channel, that's for sure, but anything I do make goes into my Paycheck, and it is something that makes me or forces me to think about what can I do in this coming month to bring more joy into my life. So I love it for that reason, and it gives it a little bit more motivation and purpose to show up again and again, especially when I don't feel like showing up, which was definitely me today. I did not feel like showing up, but here I am. And you get to watch me making an apple crumble at the same time. The next reason I love having this schedule is that it's also forced practice to say no. I get to say no to sponsors that don't align or opportunities that I'm not excited about. Like if it's not, as Derek Sivers would say, if it's not a hell yes, it has to be a hell no. And that is something that has been a hard lesson for me to learn. And having part-time work gives me the ability to practice it even more, because I really have to step back and ask myself when opportunities come up, is this something that it's not only whether or not it's aligned to my brand and my integrity, but Is it something that, my future self is going to be like, why the hell did you agree to this? Which is something I do a lot. I piss my future self off all the time doing stuff like that. So it's really a good way for me to practice that ability to just say, you know what, thank you, but no thank you at this time. The next reason I'm loving this schedule is that it does give me some structure. I always used to plan out my weeks like religiously, and I needed that because I have a very ADHD brain and I just like lose track of time very easily. So I had like this very regimented routine of planning my week and having every day themed and stuff like that. And I don't want that sort of rigidity in my life anymore. So that's one thing I've been able to let go of. But the downside of that is if I'm not constantly looking at my calendar and my to-do list, then I kind of check out of it. And I may have obligations that I'm just completely forget about because I forget to look at my calendar. So knowing that there's like 1 to 2 days a week, I usually reserve Tuesdays and Wednesdays for filming and any calls that I have. Knowing that those are my quote unquote work days, which I can absolutely say no to, as I mentioned already, if I want to, or switch my schedule around. But knowing that those are my days, it just anchors my week and allows me like that mental capacity to plan around those specific days. And then if I need to change them, I will, because I have that flexibility. But structure is an important thing that I'm learning even in retirement. As Martha Stewart would say, it's a good thing. One of the most important reasons I want to continue to keep working part-time is that it facilitates or gives me a reason to keep learning and growing and challenging myself. So when you have something like YouTube, and I am not suggesting anybody else needs to start a YouTube channel, I'm just talking about part-time work in general. And if you're excited about it, which I hope you would be if you're in this phase of life, then you're going to want to learn more about it. You're going to want to like develop your skills and get better at things and learn about techniques and stuff. So I have found that with my YouTube channels and even with coaching as well, I'm still excited to keep learning and upgrading my skills. And that, of course, just keeps my brain growing. And because I could very easily just spend the whole day, scrolling Instagram, which brings me to my next point. And that is, I feel 100% better mentally and physically and spiritually and emotionally when I'm creating rather than consuming. I'm sure we all know what it feels like when you've been scrolling Instagram or just watching the news too long or anything where you stop and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I feel like crap right now. Not only because what I've been ingesting is usually pretty bad, but also it's rotting your brain. So I noticed that about myself. Once my schedule really opened up and I had a lot more time to kill, my default was always to just pick up my phone and scroll Instagram. And at the time, I had not yet learned how to manage my feed intentionally. So I was getting a lot of news. And yes, I know it's important to stay up to date on world events, but I was using Instagram as like a way to chill out and just entertain myself. And I just didn't want the toxicity in my face 24/7. So I learned how to edit my Instagram feed so that now I get like puppies and just a few creators that I really enjoy watching. And it's a pleasure to watch. But still, all of that consumption versus creating things is like energy in reverse, right? Like you're bottling things up. It's almost like creative constipation. So I have learned in retirement that the best thing I can do to spend a day, however I spend it, whether it's at home or going out or whatever, is to create something. So that's why I'm making this apple crisp. Also, these apples are about to die, so they really need to get used. And it's why I'm exploring watercolors. And it's why I continue to learn how to make more interesting videos. I don't know if I'm actually getting better at it, or not, but it's what keeps me wanting to learn and grow more, which I think is a really important thing. And then last but not least, one of the best reasons for enjoying and doing what I'm doing right now and having no desire to stop yet is that it connects me to a community I wouldn't have access to otherwise. In my real life, I don't know a lot of people who are actually retired. So, or having interest in retirement or early retirement or personal finance, those sort of things are not everybody's jam. And I get that. So having this outlet to connect with all of you and read your comments and stuff, which I absolutely love doing, just makes me feel a little less alone in the day. And it's always nice to hear people resonating with the ideas that I share. And I know not all of you resonate with the ideas I share based on the comments you leave, but most of you do. And that feels good. Makes you feel a little less alone. So what I have realized is having something in retirement where it's like 5 to 7, maybe 10, depending on who you are and what you're doing. Maybe it's 50 or 60 hours a week, but something that anchors your week, gives you a sense of meaning, a sense of like a channel to create and communicate and express yourself that also gives you an opportunity to learn new things and meet new people. I mean, you just seriously can't go wrong. So anyway, that's what I have for you. That's why I continue to do this YouTube channel and my other channel and my life coaching for ADHD adults. And I'm just finding my stride, and this has been a big part of it. So thanks for watching, guys. And if you're curious, I'm making an apple crumble here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it actually tastes good. Bye for now.